And so there we have it. Another Prime Minister enters the fold. Oh boy.
Watch the rain as it's falling down.
Greetings, lovely people, and welcome to something I don't think I've really done in quite a while. UK politics. I know, right? It's crazy that, I have a background in political journalism and never talk about my local politics, but yeah, Keir Starmer is out. He officially quit, he resigned, he left the Prime Ministership, whatever you want to call it, and honestly, it better late than never, I suppose. Honestly, looking back at the less than 2 years in which Keir Starmer has been Prime Minister, what on earth was any of it? Like, his little, leaving speech, whatever you want to call it, went over how he has made the economy better and, increased wages and, it's ahead of inflation and everything, and how he's, done all these great things for, working and middle class people. But as a lower middle class or upper working class individual, I have seen nothing but my life get worse in the last 2 years, and that is saying something, because under Tories, it was terrible. I am honestly just shocked at how bad things have gotten under Labour over the last 2 years, and yeah, I really hope that Andy Burnham, who is now going to be our Prime Minister apparently, can do literally anything that's good, because quite frankly, Starmer has failed as a Prime Minister, and the fact that he has left, while somewhat shocking, I was actually quite surprised to see the news, is not unbelievable by any means. It's not understandable, for lack of a better term. I'm just shocked, honestly, that this is the 8th Prime Minister in my lifetime, and that is not normal. A regular term, like, for a Prime Minister is anywhere in, like, that 3 to 5 year sort of time span. Some are shorter, some are longer. It does depend on the political environment of the time. 5 years is supposed to be the term limit, in terms of that's how long they're supposed to remain in office. But in my lifetime, I mean, I've seen very little of that, and this is just another great example of less than 2 years. 5th of July 2024 is when Starmer got office, and it is currently, as recording this, the 22nd of June 2026. I am amazed with how quickly this has gone so badly, and yeah, I'm just it's difficult. I've literally just decided I was going to make this video immediately upon seeing the news. I've read a few of the articles and I've watched his little leaving speech, so I have a bit of an idea of what's happened. But I just wanted to just kind of ramble for a little bit about this, because this is a ridiculous turn of events. So, as a quick point of reference, I was born in 2001, during Tony Blair's prime ministership, and that means that, not including the next one, Andy Burnham apparently, there have been 8 prime ministers in my lifetime. Tony Blair, Gordon Brown, David Cameron, Theresa May, Boris Johnson, Liz Truss, Rishi Sunak, and Keir Starmer. With now, apparently, Andy Burnham as the newest, as the 9th. And just for context, Tony Blair is 97 to 2007. 10 years, 2 terms. Gordon Brown, 07 to 10, 3 years. Relatively short. David Cameron, 10 to 16. Theresa May, 16 to 19. Boris Johnson, 19 to 22. Liz Truss, 3 months, 2 months, 1 month, 20 days. I can't really remember how long she actually was, but the same year she would have started and finished her time in the office. Rishi Sunak, 22 to 24, and then Keir Starmer, 24 to 26. This goes back to Cameron at the end of the day, this is Cameron's fault. Everything in my adult life can be brought back to Cameron. Cameron ruined this country. But without making this a rant about that, the fact that I've gone through that many prime ministers within my lifetime, the longest serving in my memory, in my active, I remember what things were like under them, is David Cameron for 6 years. Which I say is only just more than one term. Only just. I can't believe the state of UK politics, and quite honestly, I am just tired of living in this country with everything that's going on in it. And this isn't going to become more of a ramble about general UK issues. I really just want to keep this on the topic of Prime Ministership and the fact that Starmer has gone. But that does kind of bring it around to my thoughts overall on Starmer. Because the politician he does remind me of the most, of, the 6 that I were, politically active during the leadership of, is David Cameron. Keir Starmer, despite being Labour, was just David Cameron Part 2, from my perspective. The way he spoke, the way he acted, the way he dressed, just everything around him, including a lot of his policy positions, were essentially taken directly from Cameron. And that's because, despite this being a Labour government, this was a right-of-centre government. And may still continue to be. Andy Burnham has his whole man of the people sort of, king of the north sort of appearance, but I don't know how much that will actually translate to actually making change for the better, actually making the Labour Party a left-of-centre government, because it just isn't, and it hasn't been for, quite frankly, since Corbyn left. The Labour Party has a lot of issues, had a lot of issues during Corbyn's ruling, but at the end of the day, it was an actual left-of-centre party. Since Corbyn left, since Starmer has been in charge, it has been right-of-centre. Not as right-of-centre as the Tories, and by no means anywhere close to, Reform, or any of the other various parties of that type, but it is not a party of the people. It is not a Labour party. It is not a left-wing party. And I can only hope that with Starmer leaving, and with Burnham, or whoever actually replaces him, Burnham has said that he's replacing as PM. I don't know. It doesn't seem to be properly confirmed anywhere other than from Andy Burnham himself, which I don't know how much I should trust this entire system. We haven't got an official word at this time, as of recording this. As I say, the news literally just broke. But yeah, this entire situation is absolutely insane to me, and yeah, all I can say is, Keir Starmer, thanks for nothing. I hope that the future is better. However, the country is falling apart as it is, and I'm very afraid for the future. Whether that be due to the fact that Reform is making huge wins across the country, or the fact that all of our parties, the more moderate, the more central, the more, left-wing in general, are all just moving to the right, potentially other than your party under Jeremy Corbyn and Greens, who I have been a long-time supporter of, as I've mentioned on the channel before. This country's a mess, politically, and while there are a few odd things that I could probably point to as positives from Starmer's rule, like not getting involved in Iran, that was kind of alright, I guess. There are so many things that I could point at and say, this was terrible, this was a bad decision. The amount of stuff that he's done to affect those in, under the poverty line, the things that he's done to affect those that are older, those that are retired, and just in general, the lies, and the attempts at protecting the youth that have basically just cracked down on the freedoms of the people. There are so many things under Starmer's government that I really don't like. And there's a reason I don't talk about UK politics much anymore. And it's purely just down to the fact that I get really depressed thinking about a lot of this stuff. Which is also why this is a very rambly, all over the place sort of video. Because I just want to ramble a little bit about the fact that finally Keir Starmer's gone. But that doesn't make me happy about the future. We don't have another general election until 2029, so we're still a few years out from there. It seems a little early because Keir has very much said that he's leaving because he's clearly not the right candidate to win the next general election. So I'm a bit confused about that. It seems a bit early for that, potentially. I don't know. But either way, we're in a very interesting time. Labour is doing the exact same thing that the Tories did, post-Cameron. And, it's not looking great. It's not looking great at all. But with that being said, I'm going to leave it there. So feel free to tell me your thoughts on Keir Starmer, or Andy Burnham, or any of the other things relating to our current political climate, I suppose, in the UK. And I guess I'll see you next time. Bye!